A new report shows that Russia and Ukraine have hammered out a peace deal and are ready to end the war. Oh, thank God. What? Oh, sorry. The report says they had hammered out a peace deal way back in April, but the U.S. and UK intervened and stopped it. What the flying... That's right. They were going to end the war 4 months ago. They were going to end the killing and the horror and the holding an old guy in front of you so they have to shoot him first. This is what we supposedly want, right? With the doves and the sunburst and shit. Ending the war is what Ukraine wants. Ending the war is ostensibly what Russia wants. Ending the war is ostensibly what the U.S. and NATO countries want. And I looked it up, and ostensibly means supposedly for people who are trying to sound smart, but who ostensibly don't even care about sounding smart. Did I use it right? No. Let's take a step back and think about this. And let's forget the fact that the U.S. and NATO helped create the war in Ukraine by breaking their promise to Russia not to expand NATO. And let's forget that the U.S. perpetrated the 2014 coup in Ukraine. And let's forget that many top U.S. officials have admitted this is a proxy war between the U.S., NATO, and Russia, including former CIA head Leon Panetta. And let's forget Dave Chappelle's last few comedy specials, not because it's related to this topic at all, just because, oh, God. The thing I don't get is even if you hate trans people, even if you don't care at all for the oppressed or for people who have it incredibly hard in our society, and even if you really can't stand them, why, for the love of God, is the fact that trans people might get treated okay your number one complaint in the world? Think about all the shit there is to complain about on this planet. Sweatshop workers in Bangladesh, sex traffickers in the U.S., illegal whaling in the Pacific, racism and apartheid and drought and rental car employees who act like it's my fault the car I'm about to rent stinks of cigar smoke. What did I do? Hipster thrift stores who say they'll only give you $1 for every shirt you own unless it's an authentic Bikini Kill Tour shirt. There are so many things to be furious about in this world. But no, not. I'm just going to focus on the fact that a person who used to identify as a man now goes by Audrey. That's it. That's all. That's my thing that I'm passionate about. What the fuck? Sorry. Back to Ukraine. Let's forget the fact that Biden and Congress have sent tens of billions of dollars of weapons and aid to an army that is at least partially Nazis, who don't do a very good job of hiding that they're Nazis. But don't worry, Ukraine has solved their Nazi problem by simply changing the logo. Kind of like when Uncle Ben's Rice changed their problematic brand name to That Guy Ben's Rice and claimed it just featured a guy named Ben who is good at cooking and has no connection to America's racist history or plantations or anything. What? Ben? And let's forget the fact that even U.S. propaganda mouthpieces, CBS and CNN, have admitted that only about 30% of the billions of dollars of weapons have made it to the front lines in Ukraine. The rest has been stolen and sold on the black market to terrorists or people who like using grenade launchers as coasters, for the guy who has everything. Let's forget the fact that the U.S. government has admitted they're lying about what's going on in Ukraine because they say it's justified when in an information war. Let's forget the fact that a U.S.-funded committee in the Ukrainian government has called anyone reporting the truth about the war an information terrorist who should be prosecuted for war crimes. This includes U.S. Congressman Rand Paul and Pink Floyd frontman Roger Waters. Sure, and Paul McCartney is a Russian assassin. Let's forget the fact that the sanctions against Russia have backfired and are destroying the lives of average Americans. Let's forget that documents have already revealed the U.S. and the West have been planning to plunder Ukraine for years. Let's forget all of that. And that's a lot of forgetting. That's Joe Biden on his worst day when he didn't get his prescription drug cocktail and they didn't have enough formaldehyde to pump into his ear canals, filling the holes in his brain, and he accidentally ordered missiles be fired at Uzbekistan, which is a country he made up. So no one really knows where those missiles went. Even with all of that forgetting, even if you're still waving the Ukrainian flag and refusing to hear any of the facts that I've just listed, just going, nah, 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 nah. Even then, would it matter to you that a new report shows the U.S. and our allies actually tore up a peace deal, stopping it from going forward way back in April? That's right. Way back in April, Russia and Ukraine had tentatively agreed to a peace deal. A deal that could have ended all of this senseless killing. The terms of that settlement would have been for Russia to withdraw to the positions it held before launching the invasion on February 24th. In exchange, Ukraine would promise not to seek NATO membership and instead receive security guarantees from a number of countries. Wow! That sounds incredible! This sounds like it could have ended God knows how much suffering. It could have saved so many lives and so much money and stopped untold destruction. It's fun we didn't do that. A major factor in the failed negotiated settlement was pressure from the West. According to a report from Ukrainska Pravda, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson urged Ukrainian President Zelensky to stop negotiating with Russia when he visited Kiev on April 9th. He told Zelensky that even if Ukraine is ready to sign some agreements on guarantees with Putin, Kiev's Western backers are not. And in case you think that's fake news, Johnson confirmed it when he later told French President Macron that he had told Ukraine not to negotiate. Even if Ukraine was ready to end the war and Russia was ready to end the war, Boris the Clown Johnson wanted to let them know the West was not ready to stop the bloodshed. Of course, if Zelensky wasn't an obvious puppet, his response would have been, "Who the fuck are you? We're the ones being invaded here. We're the ones risking our lives. We're the ones with our entire families hiking down the street with our dogs on our backs. Who the holy hell are you? You're a mop-headed freak who just lost his prime ministership and will go down in history as a cross-eyed baboon." But of course, Zelensky, didn't do that. He said, "Oh, you want this horrific, pointless war to continue? Okay, great. I'll tell Russia to keep bombing, and I'll tell our Nazis to keep shooting. Thanks for the advice, Mr. Baboon." Let me repeat. This war would be over if it weren't for the US and the UK. Don't forget to tell your friends. That's it for now, but please leave a comment. Let me know if you think it's awesome that the US keeps this war going. And if you want to see the most censored news continue, please share this online and spread the word, because we are a completely independent program. Keep fighting.